Well, there you have it, of course, some of the top business headline now. So let's get started as we make sense of some of these stories. We have immediate past Chairman Ikeja, District Society of ICANN and Public Affairs Analyst Olusegun Okwande joins us now. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, and it's good to have you again.
Good morning, Frank, and good morning to all our viewers. Nice to be here, and happy Salah in advance.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on board again. So let's get started. Let me get your opinion on, especially on the first story, talking about expectations from President Buhari returns home back to Nigeria ahead of Salah break. I mean, quite a lot of conversations around the take home from the Paris summit, which has to do with a new global financing pact that has to do with climate change. Talk to us about what were your expectations when President Tinubu traveled abroad to attend this summit. Let's start from there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frank. I quickly want to correct that, but you corrected yourself by calling Professor Buhari. I know we'll get used to the new president.
Yes, so, of course. I mean, I'm always making that mistake, but in the coming days, I hope I have to, get disciplined and get used to President Tinubu's administration. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So if you look at the visit of President, number one, you always say if you are not involved, you might not be able to have understanding of what is going on. So he was at Paris to have the summit with the world leaders. And what that gives to us is that we are part of the growth, knowing fully well that we are the giant in Africa, of which so many developed countries try to look for way to partner with because of certain factors they consider as favor. Our population, cost of labor, proximity to some materials, which they see as national endowment. So this can definitely come in form of direct finance, DFI, into the business, into the country. And I think it's good. Look at the interview granted by the AFDB president, our own Femi Adesina. You can see that he actually alluded to certain policy being propagated by the new President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, that it's the right step in the right direction. One, in the aspect of the removal of subsidy, also the unified foreign exchange, of which they feel it will give a open and equal leverage end for everybody to play in the market space. So getting involved is one of the things of which I know there will be several discussions that may not be disclosed to us until it started materializing. But you can imagine if you are not even invited to such a global financing pact, you might see yourself not having full knowledge of what is happening. So that we are part of the program is a good development, and I trust this great strategist himself, our president, will definitely have certain synergy with countries that are willing to have direct investment, saying that there are great platform, an equal platform to have yield to some of their investment in the country. So it's a right step in the right direction, and we want to believe that by the time we'll be talking of 100 days in office, we should start seeing some of these policies materializing for the benefit and growth of every citizen of the country.
Oh, okay. Just one more question before we drop this particular story. Talk to us about quite a lot of people are agitated, will I say. They are highly expectant of President Tinubu to hit the ground running by unveiling, now that he's supposed to be back into the country today, by unveiling his cabinet members. That's where what people are expecting now. I mean, interestingly, of course, holiday kicks in tomorrow. But in terms of ministerial list, what would you like to see? Because there are quite a lot of expectations as to who and who will make the list of his cabinet members.
Yeah, if you look at the president, I can tell you for free that The man, in fact, he shows how prepared he is for the seat where he's seated today. And from this appointment that you've seen so far, we are seeing the right peg in the right hole. Round peg in the round hole of technocrats who understand the basic things that we are expected of. From the special advisor, you will see that the crop of people has been able to balance it between the women, the youth, and the technocrats that he has brought to bear. These are successful technocrats in their own chosen field, and pending the time that the ministerial appointment will be established, they can start to carry on the rule of things. Also, for the ministerial appointment, trust that you will see a lot of surprises. We've heard from grapevine that the politician can take other aspects of appointment, maybe ambassadorial and the like, but for ministerial it's going to be technocrat, and it's going to be a replica of what he did while he was in Lagos. Look at the service chief, look at the acting IG. You and I understand that there seems to be kind of jubilation in town for some of these appointments, so we expect that he will put the in the round hole, young ones that we know him for while he was in Lagos. I'm sure you are aware that Lagos produced one of the youngest commissioner while he was there. Even after he left, the last commissioner of finance was actually on the 40, and we have so many of them like that who are actually good on the jobs. We expect that technocrats come in, those who understand the basics. Look at these special advisors. Wale Edo is someone that we know good monetary policy and the like. No who is NSA has done in the time past. So little antecedent he has laid down, we are very much optimistic that we'll get a good cabinet that will support him to deliver the dividend of democracy that he has promised us.
And one more concern on the table is that while it is okay to get the right people in the right positions, there's also high expectation of the political will to get things right. Now you get your members right, executive members, advisors, you get them right, but again you also need to get it right in the area of having the political will to address the necessary things that challenges that economy is faced with. I think it's going to be quite a lot of surprises. We'll await that to see who make makes that list of cabinet members. But let's get into our second story, which has to do with the proposed 40% hike, and it's going to form our conversation on the show today. But we'll not be talking much on this. But talk to us about. We heard that the discos have backtracked on their decision, waiting for NEC arrival. I mean, talk to us. I know you are in that sector as well. You play in that sector. Talk to us what this means. Should this take effect from July 1?
If we still have it in another segment, but I can tell you that we have to look things from the two sides of the coin. Okay. The business, the survival of business itself, and if you look at the commitment of the federal government when privatization was set up, we are supposed to be having MITO, which is the multi-tariff year order biannually every six months. So it's just the implementation of what was signed years back for them to meet up with the set pricing of education. But we know that this is not the best time, considering certain factors that have been put in place. And the DISCO do not have the unilateral power to carry this out without the approval of NEC. So I'm sure with the arrival of the president today, I'll wait maybe by Friday, when he return back to base in Abuja after the Salah, there will be definitely discussion around this on whether the NEC we approved it, but definitely there can be implementation. That's why you can see a rejoinder from the discos backtracking that decision await NEC approval. But it's something that was actually agreed with them on the MITO tariff, which they are supposed to be doing biannually, adding small percentage to the cost of electricity for growth. But we'll await NEC, and we'll discuss more in the second segment.
Okay, it's all right. So let's move to our next biggest story of the day. apprehensions quite high in some of the federal government agencies as a result of mass sack. I mean, because what they are saying, since the dissolution of boards of some of these agencies, there are quite a lot of fears, anxiety in the air, because there might be mass sack at the end of the day. So talk to us, how should the government handle this? What are your expectations with regards to this?
Well, the instruction has been given, and I'm sure you know that the agencies, there has been dissolution of the board of some of these agencies. You know, why people are afraid is how do they get into their place of employment? What performance have they exhibited while they have actually been engaged? You can come in through the connection of someone that you know. But I'm sure if you perform, government, they will definitely sustain you, because they will consider your deliverable and not who brought you in. But you discover that a lot of people who are actually engaged in some of these agencies who are not performing to expectation, and it's like a challenge on their part. That's why they are afraid. For me, if you are good on your job and you have value addition to the agency, you should not be afraid of it. You should rather consider a promotion, even as the incoming board members will definitely take their space. If there's someone they are planning for your post and they consider you looking at your and sitting and your contribution, value addition to the organization, you might not be disengaged. Rather, they might look elsewhere to see how they will fix the person. So those that are actually apprehended or having this anxiety of being sacked are people that we can tell you possibly they have not met up to expectation. And don't forget, those that have actually doctored their age to see how they can still be relevant in the employment of the government might be opened up and they might lose their opportunity. But the truth is, if you know your onions, you know what you're doing, every board member want people that can actually provide support for them for delivery, then you should not be having that anxiety that you'll be sacked. Definitely,
okay.
You saw what happened at the military base now when the new sheriff came in town. It's just statutory that a certain set of people must leave the system. So if you happen to find yourself in that court, you must have paid your dues, you must have enjoyed the largesse, and it will be honorary for you to just step aside and allow the younger one to come up the ladder and do what is needful.
Well, apart from sanitizing the system, are there things that we need to tackle or address critically? I mean, at the level of institutions or some of these agencies. Yes, it's good to sanitize the system, but in terms of employment, engaging these people, are there things that we need to really consider, put into consideration before we can even start employment? I mean, engaging them.
Yeah, well, the thing that we look into critically is having the right working environment that will be attractive for people to do. You see, if you go to developed climes, part of the things you see is that most technocrats worked in the government agency because they formulate the policy that assists the private sector to work. So when you have someone who does not have understanding of some of this policy, talking that policy, it affects the private sector and impede the growth of that country. So part of the things we want to see is government having good working environment that is attractive to people who has the merits to actually, get engaged for the service. You can be good. If the working environment is not conducive for you, I'm sure you'll not be attracted to even show your application for appointment in that organization. So those things must be put in place and continuous training to make sure that they are on top of it, knowing fully well that they are the policy formulators. Government agencies are mostly policy formulators that affect the private sector, and if they can get it right in area of policy formulation and implementation, then the economy will be better off for it.
Okay, let's take the last story and then we take a break for other segments ahead. The Naira unification, I mean, it's a lot of people have applauded the Naira unification, collapsing the exchange rate into one window, but there are fallout. And one of them is that Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is lamenting the fact there are no availability of forex for them, so they can have access to these to enough of forex. So talk to us about this. Shouldn't we start thinking about how to address the fallout of such policies, so as to address the impact on businesses, to avoid or to prevent the severe impact, because according to them, some of the manufacturers are already affected because they can't have access to enough forex.
Yeah, when you say you can't have access to the forex, as we speak, the major thing is you can't have access to the old way of doing it, maybe from the government. But before now, we're not all everybody was crying is that, can we have a unified one? Because if government is selling at a particular rate and we are buying at a particular rate in the black market, it doesn't make good sense of our businesses. But as we speak, you have only just one window that everybody is allowed to plug in, and they do this. At the beginning, there will be difficulty. Don't forget that certain set of people have some of these dollars with them, and they are just looking at the temperature, let me use that word, of the presidency, so that they won't just be run after by the anti-graft agency of creating the source of some of this financing of this forex. So plus and minus is something that we need to give a little insight, and I know that CBN is working to see how they can eject little foreign exchange into the system, pending when we have other people who have carried out one transaction to pump those things in, so that we can have the law of demand and supply playing its role for the actualization of the policy itself. It's going to be something that will be at the beginning, but on the long run, it's something that will be beneficial.
Okay. Well, I think we just have to leave it at this point. I know you're still hanging on, so that we can extensively, exhaust the conversation around the 40% proposed hike in electricity, tariff. But let me allow you now to just take a rest a little bit. Olusegun Okwade, immediate past chairman of Ikeja, this is Society of ICANN. We're back in a moment. Please stay with us.